Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Hare Priye Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Translation and commentary, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Texts 40 to 45. So that's 6 verses. Right? So look, we'll just do it line by line. You repeat, and then we'll do the translations, and then we'll go on like that. Please repeat. Na tad asti pravittim va yam cha cha divi diveshu va punaha Sattvam prakriti jaya muktam Yad A-B Sat Tribir Gunai. There is no being existing, either here or amongst the demigods in the higher planetary system, which is free from these 3 modes born of material nature. Purport Srila Prabhupada. The Lord here summarizes the total influence of the 3 modes of material nature all over the universe. Text number 41. Please repeat. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhakyatani Swabhava Prabhave Gunai. Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes. O chastiser of the enemy. Please repeat. Samodama tapaso cham kashantir arjivam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahmakarma svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiosity. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Please repeat. Soryam tejo dhritir daksham yudhe chapi apalayanam dhanam ishvara bhavascha chaitram karma svabhavajam. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Please repeat. Krishigo Raksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam Parichayatmakam Karma Sudrashyapi Svabhavajam. Farming, cow protection and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras there is labor and service to others. Please repeat. Sway sway karmani abhirata samsiddhim labhyate naraha swakarma nirata siddhim yatha vindati takshrinu. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear of this from me, hear from me how this can be done. Yes. So, here Krishna is laying out the social system. I think it's of the Varnashram. Varna means material occupation, and ashram means spiritual spiritual position. So earlier there's that verse Chaturvarna Maya Shristam is Chaturvarna Maya Shristam Guna Karma Vibhagasha Chashakataram apimam vidhi akataram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Yeah, I am the creator of this system. So according to three modes of material nature and the work aside, the four divisions of human society are created by me. Now, important point on this is that the modes of material nature are always operative. There's always the material nature. And the four divisions are rooted in those three modes. So we look at society and we will see that those four divisions that Krishna, that we just read just now in the 18th chapter, that they are always existing. That you'll always have the Brahminical types. What is the Brahminical type? If the body is considered like the society is considered like a body, the Brahmin is like the head. So the head speaks, recites the Vedas, teaches. The Kshatriyas are compared to the arms. The arms, they administrate the body and they protect the body. And the Vaishyas are compared to the torso, if you like. They're the digestive or productive. Krishi go rakshavani jam, that's easy to remember. Krishi means farming. So of course, without factories we can do. But without farming, we have to farm the earth to get food. Go raksha, that means looking after the cows, cow protection. And then varnijam, trading. So that is the business of the productive. The torso is where all the organs of the body are, where food is digested. So then the Sudras are compared to the legs. So the Sudras, they serve the higher classes. For instance, some Sudras will serve under the Brahmins, some will serve under the Kshatriyas. They would be, in the modern term, the enlisted men, whereas the officers would be the Kshatriyas, so to speak. And then the Sudras work on the farms. under the direction of the Vaishyas. So Krishna is explaining he's created them. So it's not that they are defunct. You will always find persons inclined accordingly. You will find your intellectuals, your spiritual people. You will find your leadership type people. They want to work in government. They want to be in the army, if you like. They want to be generals in the army. And then you'll always find your business types and Varnijam, and you'll always find your farmers that want to do farming. And then you'll always find the general mass of people that want to just have a master and take a salary and get protected. But you will find amongst your Brahmins and your intellectuals and spiritualists inquiry into the purpose of life. Kayami, as Lord Sanatan goes, what am I? What is this universe? So that is actually, it's very obvious to you as devotees. Yeah, what is my real nature? What is this universe? But many people, they just don't bother with that question. They don't see the relevance. They've already come to the conclusion, I'm living on this earth, I need to fill my belly, have a wife and bring up the kids. So they're satisfied with that. So Janika Pandit, he said some very interesting things, that when you deal with the Brahmin, you can't try and force the Brahmin. You have to convince him by Shastra or logic and an argument. The Kshatriya, because he's in the mode of passion, you can praise him. Oh yes, if you do this for the temple, you'll become known as a great president. If you do this for the country, people will always glorify your contribution. So with the Kshatriya, you praise him. With the Vaishya, you say, if you do this, you'll make some good profit. Show him how he can make profit. Varnijam, trading. And then with the Shudra, use the carrot and the stick. If you work hard nicely, you'll get a carrot. If you don't, you'll get the stick. So, like in the factory, hey, pull your weight on the production line or else you're out of here. Do well and you'll get a bonus. So the workers. So that's not to dismiss even the workers or the Vaishyas or the Kshatriyas and the Brahmins, because they're all necessary. Right? It's not that this has been the corruption of Varnashram. And you can also understand actually, because 5,000 years ago there was the Battle of Kurukshetra. So all the great Kshatriyas of the world were gathered together. And as Arjuna said at the beginning, he said, if I kill all these and all these Kshatriyas are killed, human society will collapse. Because it's the Kshatriyas that protect society, the morality of society. Because there's always going to be the two types, the demoniac and the divine, the devotee and the non-devotee, the atheist and the theist. So the Kshatriyas are meant to keep society on the theistic path. But if you kill all these Kshatriyas, then who will maintain all this morality, this social order? Because Vedic society, Prabhupada says many places, it's a combination of the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. The Brahmins are studying the Shastra, that's their tendency. They love to read the Shastra and contemplate the spiritual world. So the Kshatriyas, though, they act they govern society under that realized spiritual instruction. So if there's no Kshatriyas, the Brahmins have a problem. Generally the Kshatriyas will make sure the Brahmins are properly supported and protected. But if there's no Kshatriyas, then the Brahmanas have to engage in varnijam, trading and business to support themselves. So Indian world society at the end of the Kali Yuga, end of Dwapara Yuga, beginning of Kali Yuga, must have collapsed very badly. So what is the understanding? The corrupted understanding is that Varnashram should be according to birth, not quality. As we just read, Guna Karma Vibhagasha. That Krishna's created Varnashram in accordance with the modes of material nature. And that is there in a person. Some people are naturally Brahminical, some people are naturally in different ways. So, when you put people in a straitjacket according to birth, that is illogical. Because if I'm the son of a doctor, but do you want to take medical advice from me? Well, you can, don't eat too many sweets. But if you've got something serious, you should see a properly qualified person, right? So this is a simple point. Prabhupada makes it throughout. But also, Bhakti Vinod, I think it's Varaha Purana. He quotes from the Varaha Purana, Bhakti Vinod, in Jaiva Dharma, and he says that Rakshasas will take birth in Kali Yuga, in Brahminical families, to cause the degradation of the Varnashram system. And the way they will do it is by insisting on birth, not quality. My father's a Brahmin, I'm a Brahmin. Well, that may be a good starting point if he's a qualified Brahmin, but it doesn't make you a qualified Brahmin just because you're born that way. So that is how Varnashram is degraded. The Varna means that. It's Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. There, the swastika symbol? Yeah, so it's 8 parts. Or you could say 9, the center. But the Brahman, Kshatriya, the outer limbs, Vaishya supports the whole thing, Shudra. And then the inner limb is Brahman, Sannyas, Varna, Prastha, Kshatriya, outer limb. Then Grihastha, outer limb, Vaishya. And then Brahmachari, outer limb, Shudra. And the center is Krishna. So they all go into the center. This is the esoteric understanding of the swastika symbol. It represents the 8 varnas centered on Krishna. So the whole point is to follow your ashram and your varna towards the center. The varna are the external material occupations. They're the karma according to your guna, according to your qualities, according to your karma bandha, your material conditioning. So, this is existent. When Prabhupada says, I want to institute Varnashram, we should understand that it's already there. But so it only has to be understood and then recognized. You understand? Like everybody has a head, arms and belly and legs. So every society has, even primitive society, you have your witch doctor, right? Then you have your chief. Then you have your people that are creating the food. And then you have your workers. In a university, you have your professors. They could be the Brahminical function. Then you have the administration, protection of the university. That's the Kshatriya function. Then you have the financial aspect of the university, collecting donations, collecting fees, spreading money around for maintenance. And then you have your workers in the university. Then in the temple, you have those that are 6 occupations, we'll find that later, of the Brahmins. They study the Shastra, they teach the Shastra. They perform yajna, they teach yajna. They accept donations, they distribute donations. So you'll find, like, you have the 24-hour kirtan. So that's Brahminical function, they're doing yajna. Then there's those that like to study and teach, give class, who are capable of it. Then you have your Kshatriya department, the president and all his Sudra Kshatriya departments, the administrators and so on and so forth, pen pushers, executive level, administrative level. Then you have your business type people, printing books, selling books, looking after the land, collecting donations, balancing the books. And then you have your general squad of people that serve in different departments, selling the books, looking after the cows and so on. So you'll find that in everywhere. It's not that Varnashram is something brought from outside of society and imposed. No, but this is the natural function. So this 18th chapter, that's what Krishna's doing. He's giving Arjuna the correct way to see the world. Usually, in ignorance of the Vedic message, people see the world through their speculation. They wake up, they come to adulthood, and they start to think, what is this world? Then they become interested in socialism, or capitalism, or globalism, or Marxism, or cultural Marxism, or feminism, or whatever. So these are different ways to see the material world, but they're all fallacious because they're based on mental speculation. I think this is the best way to organize society. I think that we should have just workers and no capitalists. But that won't work because you can impose communism on a group of people, but you'll still have your business-minded people, and you'll still have your government function, and you'll still have your ideologues, right, that are trying to impose the Marxist ideals, right? They're your perverted Brahman function. So you'll always have that. You can't avoid it. So what Krishna is doing is telling Arjuna, see the world in this way. Because this is the way, as he says here, I've created these divisions. So see the world in this way and organize accordingly. Right? In society. So that is Varnashram, and it's not just for, we're the Vaishnavas and we're completely transcendental. No, we have our Brahminical section, we have our Kshatriya section, we have our Vaishya section, we have our workers. We can't just say we're all Babaji's doing 3 lakhs under a tree. And nor is that a good idea if you're unqualified. Because what did Krishna just finish up there, if you remember? He said, by following these qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. And that's also in the Brahma Samhita. At the end there's 5 slokas which Krishna tells Arjuna. This is 61. Dharma manyad parijajya mamekam bhajva vishwasan. That sounds very much like a sarvadharma parijajya. Because it is dharma manyad parijajya mamekam bhajva vishwasan. Give up yadrasi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrasi. Kurvan nirantaram karma lokaya manuvartate. Tenaiva karmana jhayan mam param bhakti michati. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. So this is the Daman verse, Parijaja of the Brahma Samhita. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of this world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal. That means they're working, trying to achieve some goal. By meditating on me by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love in the shape of the supreme service. You see that? By following the nature of the work, you will attain perfection. So it's not that artificially we say, oh, I'm a Vaishnava, Naham Viprocha Narapati, I'm nothing to do with Varnashram, I'm Gopi Bhatta Kamalayo Dasa Dasana Das. That is correct. But that is your Siddha Deha. In the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says, Seva Sadhaka Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. Seva Sadhaka Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. That devotional service should be performed with the Siddha Deha. That means the internally realized, like we talked about last week, those that came last week, the Swarup, your Siddha Deha. That means you're developing spiritual relationship and spiritual body. That is internal. That will function on Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandyanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, Navavida Bhakti. You practice those things, that will. But Sadhaka Rupena Chitrahi, also you should perform bhakti with the Sadhaka Deha. That means with the external body, it should be regulated. It should be regulated going to Mangalarti, chanting rounds, studying Shastra, following regulative principles, chanting mantra 3 times a day, because this regulates the external body, and then pursuing some activity, just like Krishna told Lord Brahma. People have some goal in life, or they have some natural propensities. So the Vedic system is, don't give those up. If you remember, there's a verse in the Gita, Krishna says, what can repression accomplish? Right? So if you have the desire to be a Kshatriya, and you want to be a big leader, go for it. But learn how to be a Kshatriya in the mood of Yudhisthira Maharaj, not Duryodhana. Right? Because Yudhisthira, he was a servant when he was the big leader. He was servant and father of the people. But the demoniac, when they get a big position, they want to exploit the people. I'm the Ravana. I'm the Hiranyakashipu, and I'm the Vena, like Vena. He wanted everyone to stop worshipping Bhagavan. You know the story of Venu and Prithu Maharaj. He wanted everyone to stop and say, don't do all this sacrifice to demigods and Bhagavan, worship me, I'm God. So that's Duryodhana, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and all these people. Just like Shishupal, he was so envious of Krishna. So ultimately, the Duryodhana Kshatriya, Kali Yuga, he exploits people when he's in position. But the Vaishnava Kshatriya is servant of the people. That is the difference. So that is what Krishna is talking about in these verses. Worship me through performing your material duties, your karma, according to your nature, your tendency. By the people of this world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal, right? So everyone has got the nature. I want to learn music. I want to make a business. I want to have a farm. Right? But by meditating on me by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love in the shape of the supreme service. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, I want to be a farmer, but now I want to produce nice things, and I'll take some to the temple to be offered to Krishna. And I'll see myself looking after the land as a service to Krishna. And I'm producing food as a service to my fellow living entities. Right? And I'm going to act morally in my business. And so the Kshatriya, same thing, like we just saying. I'll protect the people just like Krishna would protect his own spirit souls. And the Brahmin thinks, I'll become learned so that I can give this knowledge to the people. Right? And the Sudra thinks, well, I'll just serve nicely under the direction of these people and I'll become perfect in that way. Because ultimately it's the esoteric practice is the most practice. So Daiva Varnashram means that. A Bhaktisiddhanta phrase made that phrase, Daivi or divine Varnashram. It means that everyone is performing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smarana, he's performing Navavidya Bhakti, his own but then according to his propensity, he's working in the farm, he's working in the office, he's the temple president, he's preaching worldwide, right? He's doing all these things, but for Krishna, in the mood of service. So how is the important point is, how is one to get that mood of service, you see? So that is before that, you see. In this just so we saw, yes. Pramanas chad sadacharas tadabhyasa nirantaran podhyanatmanatmanam bhaktimapi uttamam labet. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence. So Shastra, theistic conduct, that means sadhana, and perseverance in practice. So those three things. Shastra, theistic conduct, acting according to the Shastra. And then the next verse is very interesting. These preliminary practices of devotion, yasha shreyas karam nasti, yaya nivritim apnoyat, yasajati mameva bhaktim tameva sadayat. Yes, these preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion. So if you perform your Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu regularly on the basis of Shastra and according to directions of Guru, then that will awaken loving devotion, than whom there's no superior, which goes hand in hand with the exclusive state of supreme bliss and can lead to myself. So when your devotional nature has woken up by sadhana, then you will want to perform all these external activities, which we've just gone, as an offering to Krishna. Then you'll understand what is devotion. You understand? Because to understand devotion, it has to be awoken within the soul. You can tell people, well, the devotees are doing everything as an offering to Krishna and under the direction of Guru. But then people, but what does it mean? I have to get on with my life. I have to get money for my family. So this idea of performing activities in a mood of devotion is very hard to grasp for the materialists because they have no concept other than their own selfish activity. You understand? They haven't woken up the unselfishness of bhakti. And how to do that, that's in the 12th chapter of Gita. That's very interesting actually, how Krishna sums it up. You see, the 12th chapter, it's called Devotional Service. It comes after Universal Form. So, Arjuna asks at the beginning, which are better, those that worship the impersonal aspect, the Brahman, Brahmajyoti, or those that worship your personal form? Then Krishna says, those that fix their minds on my personal form are always engaged in worshipping with great transcendental faith, are considered by me to be most perfect. Right? And he says those that worship the impersonal form, that's difficult, because impersonal things are hard to grasp for a person. Yeah, he says here, for those whose minds are attached to the impersonal feature, advancement very troublesome. So then it's very interesting how, right? So then Krishna, after a few verses, he comes to verse 8 and he says, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without doubt. So just fix your mind on me. This is the pure devotion, right? The developed soul. He is always thinking of Krishna because of bhava, realization. His mind is always thinking some matter about Krishna. And engage all your intelligence in me. Dadami Buddha, I'm trying to realize Krishna, I'm contemplating. So this is what the rishis and sages are doing. Thus you will live in me without a doubt. Because if you're contemplating and trying to understand Krishna, your mind is fixed upon me, you'll come to more and more. This is your Siddha Deha will develop. But then you might say, but I can't do that. Right? I can't fix my mind on Krishna. I'm too conditioned by selfish activity, acting for myself. And I don't understand what you mean. I have to do everything for Krishna. I've been doing everything for me my whole life. I can't adjust. Right? So then Krishna gives solution. My dear, number 9 verse. O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of bhakti-yoga. Right? Sadhana bhakti, regulation, chanting a regulated amount, studying Shastra daily, and following the principles, follow the regulative principles of bhakti. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So the fruit of sadhana is that you wake up the desire to attain Krishna. Then you can understand what is devotion. Because if you have the desire to attain Krishna, that means you've become devoted. You understand? I want to attain Krishna. That means I'm devoted to Krishna. Right? So whatever you want to attain, that means you're devoted to that. So how do you wake up that desire? By sadhana bhakti. Right? So bhakti, abhideya gyan, is sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is vaidhi, and then second section is rag. That means attraction. By vaidhi you become attracted. You develop a desire to attain me. So raganuga bhakti, that's what Lord Chaitanya came to give. Following in the footsteps of the leaders of Krishna's devotion, Mother Yashoda, the gopis, the friends, the cowherd boys, so on, then you develop your mood following in their footsteps. Then you develop bhava, then you become realized personally and directly in Krishna. Because Krishna is ecstatic, you have to be ecstatic to understand him. And then that condenses into prem bhakti. So this is a very important point. Krishna is making it to Arjuna for our benefit. And then Krishna says, if you cannot practice the regulations of bhakti-yoga, just try to work for me. That means, okay, don't do sadhana bhakti. Then just do your varnashram things, but work for me. What's the verse on that? You pandits should know. Yad karosi yadanasi yakshdadosi dadasi yat tapasya sekunteya tad karuswa adapanam. Yeah. then do all your activities, your pious activities, your varnashram, follow rules and regulations in varnashram and just work for me. So the whole point is to develop the siddha deha, which is based on sevabhav. Right? If we want to wake up, we were talking last week about Svarup, right? So the whole root, the central core of the siddha deha's manifestation is sevabhav. Everybody in the spiritual world has sevabhav. So varna and ashram, they all want to attain this mood of service to Krishna. They're all means to achieve that inner service. So this is the essential thing to understand. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, see the world in this way, and not in the speculative way, because all these fashionable things, communism, globalism, thisism, thatism, they all come and go. So why is it important to see things correctly and to know how to progress? That's also in the Ishupanishad. Yeah, mantra 14. Sambhutim cha vinasam cha yasto vedo vayam saha. Vinasayena mrityum tirtva sambhutyam mritam ashnute. One should know perfectly the personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men and animals. So you should know everything. You should know the Supreme Personality, and that you should know the material creation, this is, when one knows these, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. So that's very interesting, right? When you understand how this world actually works, you're seeing through the eye of Shastra Chakshus, and you're seeing, this is all the modes of material nature, people are under the modes, they're acting in this way, the karma is there, the demigods are in charge of the different areas, above that is Lord Brahma, above him is Vishnu, and so on, and you're understanding that. Then when he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation, because you're going past the material energy to the Supreme Controller. So you're starting to meditate on the Supreme Person. And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So understanding Varnashram and how human society is created on the basis of that by Krishna, understanding that is a way to see beyond the material nature. You understand? Because the material nature is being run ultimately by the Supreme Lord. Right? Yad yad vibhuti matsat. And then sutri mani gana iva. Krishna tells Arjuna, one spark of my splendor creates this whole creation. And everything is resting upon me, Arjuna. Sutri mani, just like pearls are strung upon a thread. Krishna is the binding principle. All the atoms and molecules, they're all on this thread of Krishna. He's holding the whole thing together. He's the weave in the fabric. Unless there's a weave in the fabric just falls apart. So Krishna is the intelligence or the binding principle, the support of all creation. So when you study material nature through the Vedic Shastra, like we have done one aspect today, the nature of the Varnas and the people, the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra, when you see this, then you see beyond that to see Krishna, you see? So there's that verse, right? When one knows this, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation. So when you understand the material nature properly, you'll see Krishna is behind it. And then what will you see that? You see it's all progressive. Mantra 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pahitam mukham tatvam pushvam aparvanu satya dharmaya dristaye. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Please remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. So that's the verse after number 14. So once you understand the Supreme Lord, the demigods, the material creation, and the ultimate principle behind it, Vishnu and Krishna, then you'll be attracted. Oh, please remove the Brahman and let me see your form of bliss. Just like in that 12th chapter, when you've gathered spiritual knowledge, when you've performed sadhana, when you're realizing Krishna, then you become attracted to Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. So then you'll be able to perform all your material duties to family, to society, to friends, to parents, so on and so forth, as an offering, because your devotion will have woken up. You see, then you'll understand what is bhajan. It's explained there, we're studying Prahlad Maharaj, it's explained there in the Bhagavatam, that Prahlad Maharaj, he performed bhajan just like a river. It's always flowing. So he was always thinking on Krishna, Vishnu, Nrsingadev. He was always contemplating. And he was always acting at every moment as a form of bhajan, as a form of worship, as a means to satisfy his beloved Lord. So that's the realized and accomplished spiritual state. So he was doing it non-stop, like a river is always flowing non-stop. We might get up to Mangalarti, chant our rounds, then have breakfast and start enjoying. And then we think, oh, let me go to have a sleep, I'm tired or something. So, so that's okay. You can't have perfection. Ram wasn't realized in a day. So it takes time to realize Krishna. Right? Ram wasn't realized in a day. So the citadel of bhakti wasn't built in a day either. So we have to keep on that, but we should be striving. And the good sign is, we can understand that from this verse. You'll develop a desire to attain me. That if you're doing well, then you should be increasing your desire to know and realize Krishna, you see. And so that's the purpose of Varnashram. That is Daiva Varnashram. So yes, organized society managerially in terms of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, but the inner core must be, as Lord Chaitanya was told by Ramananda Roy, right, that famous verse, Stane Shrutikatan Tanuvam Mana Bir, right? Whatever you are, whatever your position is in society, you just hear and you offer your obeisances to those presentations describing the Supreme Lord. You just hear those and you enjoy learning in that way. So that's most important. And then you'll start to do things for Krishna automatically as your seva bhav wakes up. And when you have developed seva bhav, then you'll go to Krishna. Because in the material world, everyone has their own selfish, they're serving themselves. My nation, my country, my family, me, my dog, my land, me. But in the spiritual world, everyone is externally. They're all serving Krishna, serving Krishna's devotees. Nobody's on a ego trip, you might say. So then you can grasp, if you understand that, then you've got the key to understand the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world, everyone is unselfish. They're all satisfied. Here, everyone is selfish and unsatisfied. So they're making politics and this and that. So Krishna says, don't make up all these political institutions. You don't need it. Just live according to the way I've created things. Understand it properly. And use that as a peaceful format society, on the top of which, as a foundation, to inquire about the absolute truth. And that's what the commentators have said on the Vedanta Sutra. If you know, the Vedanta Sutra starts with Atato Brahma Jignas, right? Atata means now, Brahma, the Supreme, Jignas, inquire. So what does that mean? Well, Atato means now, at this moment, fix your mind on the inquiry into Brahman, yes. But the big acharyas have written commentaries and they said, Atato, now you've attained human form. But Brahma Jignas, meaning animals don't inquire. They only inquire, where's another apple or something. But human beings, they inquire into the absolute truth. But Atato is also meant, acharyas have written, I've read myself, Atato means that now your human society is actually human by scientifically, practically implementing Varnashram. Now you're human society. Now you can inquire into the absolute truth. Atato, now that you're following Varnashram principles in the management of society, now inquire into the absolute truth. Janmadhyashyata. And that's the first description of the absolute truth. The next verse, Vedavyas says, the absolute truth is that from which, what is that? What's the first quality? He's the source of everything. So, we always ask people, where you come from? Huh? Oh, well, you're from Denmark. No, you're from Krishna. Everyone is from Krishna. So we are from Krishna. So if we understand all the atoms and molecules, that's come from Krishna, all the demigods, the Varnashram system, Krishna is the source. Then we're on the way to realizing Krishna. So Varnashram, Krishna is putting it here for us and Arjuna, and Prabhupada said he wanted to institute Varnashram because that is a practical management system. But the central core, just like the outer body can be Varnashram, but the central core is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. But the problem has been, I've noticed, many devotees think it's either or. You understand? They think that either we're following Varnashram or we're following Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam. You understand? And they, we're in the temple, so we don't have to follow Varnashram. That's for the karmis. Ugh. But we're the Vaishnavas. No, this is wrong thinking. They're interwoven. Varnashram is there in our society, you see. Different types. And nobody is in the position where they can sit under the tree like Subari Muni and just meditate for 1,000 years on the absolute truth. If you can do that, okay, forget your Varnashram. But take the assistance of social organization while you're in the material world so that you can realize that you're not part of the material world through Shravanam Kirtanam. So that's the inner and the outer. Right? It's like the soul of the body is the soul of the Varna, social body is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarana, Sevana, right? And the external body, because a body is a body and a soul, so the soul is Navavidha Bhakti, and the body is Chaturvarna Maya Shristam, right? So then the soul and the body are nicely harmonized. The inner essence, the thoughts, the worldview of society is Vaishnavism, but the external body is Varnashram as an organizational principle. And then there won't be conflict in society, right? If you try to make everyone a Shudra, in communism, then there'll be conflict because there's Kshatriyas and there's Vaishyas and there's Brahminical type, right? What do they do when the communists take over? The first thing they do is send the intellectuals off to the gulag, isn't it? Right? Solzhenitsyn and all the rest of them. Throw them up there. Why? Because they're intellectuals. They can vocalize dissent of our workers' paradise. Right? So, when the Sudras take over, it's a very terrible condition. What? You want to make business? We'll chop your fingers off. But now the problem in society now is, you can see, that the so-called Kshatriyas, they're just bought by the Vaishya function. Instead of the Kshatriyas following the Brahminical class, now the so-called Kshatriyas, I say so-called, are following big business, the money power. The money, if you want to be elected in demon-crazy democracy, you have to get money from the business, right? And once you're elected, then you're saying, I will give you change. I will change everything. We'll have a Saturday and Sunday off with the kids and go golfing for everyone. But when he's in power, he has to do what the people have paid for. He's bought and paid for, right? So now we have the Vaishya function controlling the Kshatriya. So the Vaishya function means the belly. The belly is always greedy, right? Give me more food. So the Kshatriya is giving more money to the money power. They burst, right? The Rothschilds and the black nobility of Europe and the Black Pope and these power centers. The Jewish power, the Catholic power, the nobility, the red hand and the green hand in China, and the Yakuza and all these people. They all want money, 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 money. And then they buy the government. So that's not supposed to be, that's demon crazy, democracy. So then the Sudras are being exploited. Right? They just worked if they don't need it. But it says, Krishna says, Klesho adhikarischa. You have a right, Arjuna, to perform your duty. So actually there should be no unemployment. This is a capitalist thing. That's what the communists try to get rid of. Get rid of unemployment by giving everyone a job in the army and the secret police. But in the capitalist system, they want unemployed to keep the wages down. Now they want the women in the workforce so that the wages go down. Now they want immigration from Africa into Europe so that their wages go down. It's always money. With the demons, it's always a money-making scheme, everything. So if you look at the world, if you want to understand the world, apart from Varnashram, you just understand that everything that's going on, every war, every adjustment in government policy, ultimately it's based, there's somebody making money on it. If there was no money in it, they wouldn't be bothered with it. That's how the demons are. So you have to have a Brahminical function in society. But they're always the minority, so democracy will always make difficulty. Communism will always try to kill them. Capitalism will always try to buy them. Just like in our society, all the scientists, they're also bought and paid for, because they're all atheistic, right? If you're not pushing Darwinianism and materialism, matter created everything. That's the Brahmins of our corrupt society now. They say, oh, there is no God, we're the intellectuals. You know, and they have a lab coat and they stand in front of books. Yes, life started 6,503 hours ago by a big bang. I think so anyway. So the business function has bought the Kshatriya function in our modern society, and they've also bought the intellectuals, right? Because if you speak anything, if you say, I don't believe consciousness is created by matter, you're off the university campus next week, right? So, this is what we're fighting against. How to defeat them very easily. Chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Oh, Krishna. Yeah, okay, so we'll finish on that point. Any question? You have a question.
Text 42, that's describing the qualities by which the Brahmins work. Can you please explain the difference between Gyan and Vigyan?
Oh, well, of course, there's just one definition here. But Gyan and Vigyan, they have many definitions. Here it's knowledge and wisdom. So, wisdom in the Prabhupada, it must be bringing this definition of Gyan, Vigyan, clear, because it's relevant to the context. But wisdom is intelligent application of knowledge, isn't it? Like I may know so many things, but if I'm wise, I use my knowledge for the benefit of the individual and people. But if I'm not wise, I'm just a big loudmouth and I irritate people by trying to be clever. You understand? So practical wisdom means how to practically apply knowledge and realization for the benefit of yourself and others. Like unwise, that was unwise. That means you did something dangerous to yourself. But also Gyan means also perception of the absolute truth. And Vigyan can also mean realized perception. So Gyan can mean Shastra Gyan. It means like we're reading, just like in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta, Krishna is non-different, he's imperishable, he's unlimited. So we read that in Shastra. But then through bhava bhakti, through realization, we realize in some small way, we realize in some moment of ecstasy the unlimited nature of Krishna. How everything is Krishna, Advaita. How we realize that this creation has emanated from Krishna. He's achyuta, he's imperishable. So in realization, we have a more direct perception. So that's another understanding of Vigyan. Whereas in Gyan, we may have an intellectual understanding. Right? You may think, yes, Krishna is unlimited. But then one moment, you may be sitting in front of the deity chanting, and then you realize that this is the material creation, it's one of billions of universes, and the material universes are just a fraction of the spiritual creation, and the spiritual creation is endless. Right? Well, because this is one way you can think about it. You see, we've talked about this a number of times, but you see, usually people think in the material world existence and non-existence, right? They sit on their back and they look at the sky and they think, oh, the universe goes on, and when does it come to an end? Right? They think in that way. But actually, the creation of Krishna is ananta, there's no end. So that is beyond material logic, because we are always thinking existence, non-existence. But actually, by definition, non-existence, which means the absence of everything, that doesn't exist by definition. Non-existence is not existing. You understand the point? It's the zero before zero. Non-existence doesn't exist. It's off the table. Because you can't turn non-existence into a something that you can think about. Because then it's not non-existence. Right? Like sometimes people think non-existence is a dark space or an empty space. But that's something. That's not nothing. Right? You see the point? So if you turn nothing into something, it's not nothing anymore. So therefore it can't explode. If there was nothing and it exploded, well, there's nothing to explode because it's not existing in the first place to explode. So the point is, there's only existence. There isn't an opposite called non-existence. That means that existence is unlimited. Right? Contemplate that for half an hour and see what that does to your Vigyan. You see, when you realize there's only existence, and you get out of that material duality of existence, non-existence, then you're entering the spiritual world, you see. And that's a chincha, that's beyond the logic of the material world. So Vigyan means that. Gyan means, knowledge, but then wisdom and insight and realization, that's Vigyan. Also, Gyan is... what?
Will the application of the knowledge also falls into the Vigyan section?
Yeah, because that's what you want to turn into Vigyan. You read the Shastra Chakshus. You read Krishna. You understand his beautiful form. But then when you're chanting, you try and conjure up that form and you try and realize that form. See? Just like at the beginning of Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj, he used to sit down and meditate, but then one morning Krishna actually, or Vishnu, actually appeared to him. That's Vigyan. Also Gyan, Vigyan. Gyan means knowledge, general knowledge. Vigyan also means, and it's all on the same subject, because each word has many definitions. In every language it's the same. So Vigyan also, but if you combine all the definitions, it's good for your understanding. But Vigyan also means, is often defined as the ability to distinguish matter from spirit. That's also another aspect of Vigyan. So the Vigyan person, he's able to see this is Maya and this is spirit. So that's very important, that, for the sadhaka. Because the sadhaka, you see, Maya and Krishna are side by side. So the sadhaka wants to be always going to the Krishna side and not slipping back to the Maya side. So he wants to go to he must know that this is serving Guru, this is not serving Guru, and this is serving Guru. You see? So that's Vigyan also. So the Brahman, he is realized in all these different aspects of Gyan and Vigyan, or at least to some extent. You can't be completely realized because Krishna is unlimited. So in spiritual life, there's always a progression. We, in realization, we read the 6 Goswamis. They were doing 3 lakhs, walking, They weren't thinking, oh, I'm Manjari, I'm expanded from Radharani. I don't have to do bhajan. No, they were always performing bhajan because they're realizing Krishna too, if you like. Right? Because Krishna is unlimited. And like I say, there's ananta. There's only existence. Therefore, if there's only existence, therefore we must be ever existent. You can use that argument. Because we can't go into non-existence. So that which has come into existence must remain in existence. You can argue that. But materialists will say, yes, you'll exist, but when the chemicals in your body fall apart. But that isn't me, is it? Anyway, we won't go to that avenue. But that's the point. So the devotee, though, this is the important point. He wants to concentrate on spirit. This is the important point. That though you see, just like that 14th sloka, that when you understand the demigods and the Supreme Lord and how the material creation, your mind will go to the supporting principle, Vishnu, because they're all aspects of Vishnu. So the whole point is to go to that ultimately esoteric aspect of Krishna, who's behind all phenomena. And though the material energy, yes, it's all non-different from Krishna, but in sadhana bhakti, we want to train the mind to meditate directly on the source. You understand? We don't say, oh, the madanga, well, the chair is Krishna, therefore I'm going to meditate on a chair as Krishna. Well, that's okay. You're doing something. But the principle that the acharyas have taught, you meditate, and that's at the beginning of Bhagavatam again, right, with Dhruva Maharaj, you meditate on the form of Krishna, and then the qualities, the name, the form, the qualities, and the pastimes. So we want to look beyond the material modes, just like that following verse. Please remove the Brahman effulgence, all the confusion of the modes of material nature. Please let me see your form of bliss. That's the devotee, you see. He's devoted to Krishna Bhagavan. So the Bhagavat is revealing that Supreme Person. You see, that's the whole point of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vigyan means to go past all the distraction and just fix on the beautiful form of Krishna and his intimate devotees in their Leela. So sadhana bhakti and varnashram, they all ultimately, just like they're all going to the center, those 8 things, the center is there, but you can't see it. So that's Krishna. Krishna is the center of varnashram, and everything is leading towards him. Everything is leading in Navavida Bhakti towards Krishna. You see? We have turned away from Krishna, now we're turning back. And so reality means to see everything in relationship to Krishna. So that's real Vigyan. Any question? Oh, it's time for Arti. All right, thank you all very much. Did you get something out of the class?
Yes.
Not a headache. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad-Gita Sadhu Sangha ki Jai.